I'm going to ask each one of you to give us your 1-minute summation of what it is that you want us to remember, which is a test because you have a lot that you want us to know about these subjects. And we'll go in reverse order of the opening statements, and we will begin with you, Mr. Schneider.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'm going to just tick off the policy pieces that you really asked me to address today. The first one is funding through the climate bill, if we're lucky enough to have one, funding for the Diesel Emission Reduction Act, either through the jobs bill or reauthorization and funding, and funding through a transportation bill reauthorization, which requires clean construction equipment and funds it as a part of that transportation bill. And then lastly, the ability, given the EPA, the regulatory authority to cover more of the existing in-use diesels that could require the use of today's technology to reduce the black carbon emissions from them. We've had a good discussion just now about the cook stove issue. I'm not going to add to that. I do talk about the the black carbon fund in my written testimony, so I'd refer you to that. And then lastly, we haven't talked as much about the agricultural burning issue. That's an issue that deserves more attention. It's going to require international cooperation and enforcement of national laws in other countries to really accomplish that. But we probably can't get the full benefits of black carbon reductions unless we address that. So thank you very much for the time today. I appreciate it.
Dr. Schindel.
Well, I would start by reiterating that we have two problems, a long-term climate change problem and a near-term climate change problem. And we can't deal with the long-term problem without beginning to reduce carbon dioxide emissions as soon as possible. But for the near-term problem, I think that consideration of the short-lived warming agents, as we're talking about today, and not just black carbon, but also methane, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic carbons, which are often emitted by similar processes. For example, the diesel particulate filters we've been talking about substantially reduce about 90% black carbon, but also carbon monoxide and volatile organics. So if you target all of these as a basket, you're likely to make more effective decisions, reductions that can lead to significant improvements in air quality as well as mitigating climate change. And I just repeat the summary of my testimony that reductions in emissions of products of incomplete combustion will virtually always improve health. And if targeting emissions that are rich in black carbon, carbon monoxide, VOCs, and methane, you can often find options whose co-benefits are so large that they can simultaneously mitigate climate change and improve air quality at substantially reduced cost.
Thank you. Dr. Manithan.
The Copenhagen Accord requires us to limit climate change to less than 2 degrees for pre-industrial. We have already put enough greenhouse gases on the planet. According to our climate models, they would already warm the planet by 2 degrees. So, and we are losing time. So we have a Herculean task in front of us to meet the Copenhagen Accord. And I consider black carbon reductions as an important component of our battle to meet that 2-degree warming. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bond.
Thank you very much. We've discussed some emission sources that produce black carbon and other pollutants. And we've also discussed how there's the long-term and the short-term effect. What I really want you to think about is that we have a portfolio of potential solutions that can address climate change in the long term and the short term. So don't think about either or. Think about how will we manage the atmospheric trajectory during our lifetimes and our children's lifetimes and our grandchildren's lifetimes. And our lifetime is a significant component of that and of interest to many people. The United States has the opportunity to lead in both technology and in engagement internationally in this endeavor. There are ways to improve both climate and human welfare at the same time. I'll leave it there. We have a lot in front of us, but we have a lot of solutions, and I think we have a lot of opportunities.
Thank you very much.